We're not behind the times, we're groovy.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, this is Infernal from Desaster from Germany, and I say hi to everybody.
And how would you describe the music of Desaster?
Well, we define our music as traditional black metal because we are old guys and we started to listen to heavy metal music in the 80s. And there was some bands playing the style of so-called black metal, and they all had some different sounding styles. So I just mentioned bands like Venom, Merciful Fate, also Possessed, I count as a black metal band because they had some satanic lyrics, you know. And so we followed their path and So our black metal is traditional black metal. It was not invented in the 90s in Norway or something like that, but it was invented long before in the beginning of the 80s. And that's our style of music. And since the beginning, we try to make some noise, like our great idols, I will call them, Venom. When we saw a Venom video back in the 80s, we were so much impressed by the noise they make, by the show they make, that we wanted to have our own band. That was the beginning.
Now, what does black metal mean to you? And how would you say that your approach to black metal is different from, for example, the Norwegian black metal that you mentioned?
First of all, the word black is a color. So I'm not one of those who say if you are playing black metal, you have to be a Satanist. Of course, you can have satanic lyrics, but we don't call ourselves Satanists or something like that. But we write about the dark side of life, if you know what I mean, evil things, also evil things that happened in the past, like in the Middle Ages, and also things which are going on nowadays. That in Germany, where we come from, the Catholic Church is still reigning. They have a big power, and that's not good, I think. And so we define our black metal not as a satanic kind of music or philosophy, but it's anti-religious, and also, especially because we are here in Germany, it's anti-Christian, but not satanic.
The part of Germany that you're from the western part, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's an area that's really known for its big thrash scene, especially in the 80s. Is that also a big part of your sound?
Yes, of course. We were also influenced by all the great thrash metal bands from the 80s. We were inspired by Destruction, for example. They also gave us the name. The band name was taken from the Destruction song Total Disaster. Also with the misspelling. Disaster is written in the German spelling. So we overtook this misspelling by Destruction. But also the other great bands from the 80s, Creator, Sodom, Death Row, they all influenced us a lot. And it's great that nowadays we are in contact with a lot of those bands. We play together, and that's like a dream become true.
Can you tell me a little bit about the early years of Disaster? What caused you to form the band and what your intentions were?
Well, the very beginning was very chaotic. So the name Disaster was totally fitting to our personalities, and we were just kids, wanted to make some noise and hanging around, drinking beer, make party, bang our heads to the great heavy metal sound, and then we started our own band. We had no clue about playing an instrument. We just produced some noise in the very beginning. And yeah, but the time was great. We had a lot of fun back then. And we have never thought that we could go on for over 30 years with this music and with this band. So it's great. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, I should mention that your first album, A Touch of Medieval Darkness, actually came out 25 years ago this year, right?
Yeah, that's true. It was released in 1996, and okay, it was a long time between the beginning of the band and the first album. That was because we were really, really chaotic guys in the very beginning, and it took some years until we could really handle our instruments and play good songs. So it took its time to release the first album. You know that we have been formed already in 1988, 1989. We already played one show in 1989, which was totally disastrous, really chaotic. But this marked the beginning of the band, and we become a little bit only professional in the years after that.
What was the reaction? Do you remember what the reaction was when your first album came out?
It was great. It was really, really good. There weren't much bands playing black metal in Germany. So the people reacted very good. We got very good response by the media, and also the fans liked it very much. And I remember that we were really overwhelmed by the reactions because we have never expected something like that. So yeah, it was a cool time.
It was an interesting time. As you mentioned, black metal had started to become more popular. But I think from the period from when you first formed, 1989, to when you released your first album, there were a lot of changes in the metal scene. Were you experiencing any of those changes? Did you notice that maybe some of the earlier styles of metal were becoming less popular?
Yeah, of course. There was happening a lot, you know, at the end of the 90s. It was not longer common to play some satanic black metal, you know. So some bands like, for example, the before mentioned Destruction or Sodom, they all changed their lyrics. You know, they stopped singing about Satan and occult stuff, but then they began to write lyrics about some things that are going on in the world. You know, some social criticism, things like that, and we didn't like that much. You know, we were on the old path. We wanted to play black metal, you know, and so when the first death metal bands came out at the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, you know, with Dismember, that was fucking great. Look at the old photos of Dismember, you know, they were overall painted with blood, you know, and it was really great. And we loved that, you know. The metal really became popular at the end of the 80s, you know, with the big Metallica boom, I always say. Everybody was listening to Metallica, every poser, and we hated that. And that was great that metal became more dangerous again. First with the new death metal boom, and then the black metal boom, of course, which, was also started in Norway, but it was also starting in other countries like Greece or Sweden, and also in Germany. There was a little existing, and that was Disaster.
Do you feel like black metal as a genre, or maybe because of the bands that were popular at the time, the black metal bands that were popular at the time, caused people to have a new appreciation of older bands? For example, you mentioned Venom, but also the classic thrash metal bands and other old bands like Bathory?
Well, when the black metal became popular in the middle of the 90s, I remember that a lot of those guys who were really into the scene, they say, "Oh, Venom, that's not real black metal." Okay, they have the album title, but that's too slow. That's not hard enough. That's not the real black metal. We only listen to Norwegian bands and shit like that. And we said, no, of course not. They had invented all the shit, you know, with the inverted crosses and stuff like that. Okay, already Black Sabbath had something like that, but Venom really put it to the top, you know. They overdid it, and that was great, and we loved it. And yeah, after our first album, we really wanted to show, we are not one of those new black metal bands who were only inspired by Norwegian bands, but we have our background. And so on the following Stormbringer mini album from 1997, we started to put more of our tradition into the music. So we had a creator cover on this mini album, and we also did some more thrashy and speed metal elements in our music.
Now, would you say that's how your style evolved over the years? You started incorporating more of a thrash sound?
Yes, we changed a little bit in the year 1996 after the first album had been released. By the way, it was already recorded in 1995, but the old record company always was very slow. So Yeah, the first album was really, I must say, inspired by all the Norwegian bands. Of course, we also like Immortal, Emperor, we really enjoyed listening to this kind of music because it brought back the danger in heavy metal with all the things going on there in Norway. But I think that was not really our own style. So we already had some thrash influences on the first album. Just listen to the song Devil's Sword or to the song Port of Hellgate from the first album. So yeah, we really wanted to show that we have roots, and the roots were in the 80s. And yeah, so on this mini album Stormbringer, we decided to change our sound a little bit and make a great mixture between black metal and thrash metal.
So at the time that you guys started having more of these thrash rhythms and these thrash riffs, thrash itself wasn't very popular. I mean, there are a few bands that were doing a thrashy style that were kind of popular, but in general, it wasn't as popular as it was in the 80s, and it wasn't as popular as it became like maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah. I also think that without sounding arrogant, also we started a little new movement with this mixture of black metal and thrash metal. We were one of those bands who started playing a style like that. Of course, also bands like Absu or Niflheim, they also did music like that, or Destroyer 666, and yeah, I think we brought back the roots in the scene with playing also thrash metal riffs.
When did you notice that the style was becoming popular again?
Well, our albums sold very, very good. And yeah, I think it was at the beginning of the millennium, 2000, 2002, when we had our albums Tyrants of the Netherworld and Divine Blasphemies, for me, our best albums. That was the time when this movement really started to become big.
In general, are you a fan of these newer bands who adopted this thrash style and even this blackened thrash kind of style that Disaster was doing from the beginning?
Yes, of course. I like a lot of bands, the German band Ketzer. The first albums, they were heavily inspired also by Disaster, and we were proud about that. And it's great music, and we like to listen to music like that. But we are also listening to other styles of metal. We are listening to death metal, to black metal, to normal heavy metal, to hard rock. I'm just discovering old 70s hard rock. In the 80s, we wanted to listen to Slayer and to Bathory. And when somebody came with a Deep Purple song, we said, wow, what's that? Go away, But nowadays, that's great music. And it's also great to see where the roots came from. Also, of course, band like Venom was inspired by other bands and that were before. So it's cool to go back in history more and more. Perhaps sometimes I will also listening to the Beatles or something like that, or to Elvis Presley. I don't know.
Collect
So let's jump to the present. You recently released your 9th album called Churches Without Saints through Metal Blade Records. Tell me a little bit about this album.
Yeah, it's our 9th album. You are correct. And yeah, we are very proud about the new album because I think this time we really managed to show all the elements and trademarks which Disaster stands for, and we have a good balance of the thrash metal elements, also black metal elements. We also have, of course, some death metal, speed metal, normal heavy metal elements and influences, and we have a really good mixture on this album. And yeah, we are very, very proud about this album.
When did you start working on it?
It was when our new drummer Hont joined the band 3 years ago. We already wrote songs together with him when we released our anniversary 7-inch single in 2019, which was called Black Celebration. We already had one song on the side B of this single, which is called Primordial Obscurity. And this was the first song we wrote for the new album. So you see, we were working about 2.5 years for this album. It always takes a lot of time to write songs because we all have our regular jobs, so we can't rehearse that much and that often. Yeah, we are slow songwriters, but when we come together in the rehearsal room, drink some beers, there's magic in the air, and we always write good songs. And I think you can hear this spirit on the new record. The album has a lot of feeling, a lot of spirit, and I think we really managed to catch this feelings.
Do you guys write songs as a group?
Yes, also normally I come with the riffs, and then the drummer joins in, plays something, some rhythms which are fitting to my riffs, and then normally the singer joins in and tries some good vocal parts, and at the very end bass lines are put together. So we write songs in the rehearsal room. We are not a band that exchange files with in the internet, that's not our style. We couldn't do that. We need the spirit of the rehearsal room. So we write together as a group. Of course, I am the main songwriter because I write the riffs, but we put all elements together as a group.
How would you compare Churches Without Saints to your previous albums? Or maybe the last few albums?
Well, for me, it was very important to achieve another sound like on the last 2 albums. For me, sounded too modern. Know how to explain, but nowadays a lot of bands use the same. The sounds often very the same, and this time I wanted to have another sound, more old school sound, more natural sound. And I always liked our Tyrants of the Netherworld album from the year 2000 sound, but it was dark. And also, it was very unique, something like that. And on a new album, but I think that goes in this direction. It goes back in time, and it's more old school. It is more natural. And I think this is the main difference to the other albums. We also have, I think, our own style. We are not fans of progression. We don't want to change our musical style. So I think the music is not much different on the new album, but I think that the sound makes something with the music, and I like it very much.
Some of the songs, like Learn to Love the Void, have a punky, almost old Motorhead kind of feel to them.
Yeah, that's a good description. We are, of course, Motorhead fans. Anybody who doesn't love Motorhead should go to hell and meet Lemmy, personally. So, and we, especially our bassist Odin and me, we are old punk fans. We like old German punk bands like Slime or Hass, bands like that, but also Dead Kennedys, American style, or especially the Exploited from Great Britain, great aggressive music. We love this kind of music. And every time we have a little drinking session at our rehearsal room, we put on some punk music, and you can see our bassist and me going like crazy maniacs to this punk music. And yes, of course, I think we are also inspired by this style of music, but only a little bit, but you can hear it. Yes, and you are right. Especially the first song on the album, Learn to Love the Void, is a little bit punky. It has also some Voivod styles, Voivod influences. I'm also a big fan of the Canadian Voivod, and they were also big punk fans. On the first records you can hear that, and yeah, I like this influences a lot. And perhaps in the future we will do something in this direction. But this is a surprise then.
That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about the recording of this album?
Yeah, it was very special this time because we had some restrictions by our government. I think like everybody had. And yeah, we were breaking the rule, breaking the law, because we had to meet and make music and play music together. That there was no other way. We can't live without music. And so we met, we wrote the songs together, and then we also recorded the album at our rehearsal place. And this time, that was very cool. We had a very, very old mixing board, which was very big. And yeah, I think this old equipment did something with the sound. It make it natural, make it warm. And yeah, I think this was one of the reasons that the new album sounds a little bit different than the normal productions.
Is this the first time that you guys recorded in your own rehearsal space?
No, we did it before, but with the normal modern equipment, but this time we wanted to change a little bit things also with the recording. So we also changed the producer. We were recorded by Jan Gensheimer is his name. He is also our live mixer. And he also is the live mixing guy for Asphyx, our friends from Holland. And so this time we gave him the chance to record our noise. And I think he did a very good job together with me. We were the guys who ruined the sound in the mixing process. No, yeah, I really appreciate his work. And yeah, in the past, he also made the Metal Inquisitor album, the last one. I hope you know this band from Germany, great heavy metal band. And yeah, I think he should produce more bands. He's a great guy. And yeah, he has talent.
Yeah, Jan did a great job with the sound. It does remind me a bit more of like an early 80s death or thrash metal album. It has that rawness to it.
Yeah, that's true. That was a goal for me to sound more old school, and I love the sound of the old records a lot. I'm a fan of vinyl, and I love to put on the old records and listen to the sound. For me, the best guitar sound ever has the Ride the Lightning album, and yeah, I wanted to achieve something like that. Of course, we couldn't compare with Metallica, but yeah, I think we managed to achieve an old school sound.
So, as you mentioned, this is the first album that you recorded with your new drummer, Hans, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you met Hans and how he ended up joining the band?
Yeah, he already played together with our singer, Satanic, in a band Genocide back in the 90s. And we organized a show back then. I remember it was around 2000 or 2001. They were still active. That was the time when our old singer left Disaster. So we remember that we organized a show with Divine Genocide, and we asked the singer, Teutonic, about if he could join Disaster, and he agreed. And since then, he's 20 years now in the band. And we now have his drummer also in the band. That's great. You know that, of course, they had some contact through the years. They also have another project going on. So, yeah, it was cool that we found Hont. He's a very talented guy. He has a lot of skills on the drums, but he is also a good character. He can play really, really good, but he says, okay, for Disaster, I have sometimes I have to play more easy, more, if you know what I mean, not that complicated, because that wouldn't fit to our sound. Just the ufta, you know, we need that. And yeah, he can reduce his skills and play for the band, you know. That's great. And it's sometimes reminds me on Dark Throne. Listen to the first Dark Throne album, Soulside Journey. You can really hear what Fenris is a very good drummer, but later he reduced his talent and his skills, because he wanted to have another sound and another vibe in the music, and that's great.
How would you compare Hont's style to your previous drummer Tormentor's style?
Well, Tormentor is like me, a guy who had never a teacher. I know he had some few drum lessons in the past, but like me, we learned from playing from other bands, you know. So yeah, that's the main difference. Hont is a real professional drummer. He had lessons for years, and he's really skilled in what he's doing. And of course, you can recognize that if you listen to the album. But as I said already, he managed to play the rhythms and the style which is necessary for Disaster. He has, of course, studied the style of Tormentor a lot, and he's not copying the style of Tormentor, but he is playing in the vein of Tormentor, and that's great. I like that a lot.
Is there anything else you'd still like to do with Disaster that you haven't done yet?
Oh, we have a lot of plans. I think we have to become 60 years old to fulfill all the projects and ideas we have. We also want to play in some countries we have never been before, like in Malaysia. We have to go there and play for all the maniacs. We have a lot of fans in the country. And I think we should go on for some more years. And you can expect some more shit coming from Disaster.
Is there anything that would make you want to stop doing Disaster?
Well, of course, if somebody is becoming ill, if somebody couldn't play anymore, I don't think that we can go on. We have such a good spirit in the band, and my worst nightmare is that I have some illness with the arm or something like that I couldn't play the guitar anymore. I have some friends who had some illness and they had to stop playing guitar, and it's really my worst nightmare.
So hopefully that won't happen, and
thank you.
And I'm hoping Disaster won't stop for a long time, at least not till after you guys play with Malaysia. But if you guys do decide to put the band to rest, how would you want to be remembered? How would you want people to remember Disaster?
Well, I hope that people will remember that we put out only good albums. Also great bands like Creator. They have some stinkers in their history. I don't like albums like Endorama. That was not my style. And I hope that the day we have to stop, that we have never put out a bad album. So I cross fingers.
So Churches Without Saints is out now through Metal Blade Records. Infernal, what's the best way to get this album? How can people order it?
Well, you can go and visit our homepage. It's total-disaster.com. There we have a little shop where you can buy the things you need for your daily life, like the albums of Disaster, some patches, t-shirts, everything a metal fan needs. And just check out your local distributors. I think they also have the new album. Check out eBay. I also got some orders from eBay. So just have a look in the internet. I think you will find our stuff.
So I should mention that Metal Blade put out a bunch of special edition vinyl versions of the album, limited edition color vinyl and such. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yes, I must say I'm not too happy with this because I think they overdid it a little bit. There are 9 versions. I think there are also two other versions coming. So 11 versions of the vinyl, that's too much. We have really great fans, we have diehard fans, and they complained, oh, I have to spend all my money for the new Disaster album. Of course, they want to have all versions. They are so crazy. And I think that's not a good politic from the record label. But yeah, we have noticed that. And on the next one, the 10th Disaster album, I think there only will be around 5 different versions or something like that.
So I actually don't know how this works. Do you get a lot of feedback from the label when they put together these limited editions and things like that?
They informed us a little bit, but we didn't see that it's becoming that much. The label politic today is that they outsource some versions to other labels, and they do some 200 of this color, and other label does 250 of this color, and that was not our intention to do something like that. Yeah, we are old guys, in the past there was only black vinyl, and perhaps there was a picture disc edition of an album, and we are used to that. And yeah, I don't like that too much, they overdid it a little bit.
Okay. But in terms of without the special editions or the collector's items, would you say that this is an album that should be listened to on vinyl?
Yes, definitely. I like the sound of the album on vinyl much more than on CD. I think the mastering for the vinyl was really good. So the vinyl sounds like we wanted it to sound like. And you have to put it on vinyl. I know that Metal Blade is doing some more of the good old black vinyl. So you can buy also vinyl soon. Again, because the first pressing was sold out that fast, we couldn't believe it.
Now, if people want to follow Disaster online and keep up to date with what you guys are doing, what's the best way to do that?
Well, you can visit our Facebook page, Disaster Official. We also have an Instagram account, of course, and already mentioned homepage, which is not up to date. But yeah, to get in contact with us, you can go there and just write a message. If you want to say, oh, your music is shit, just leave it there. No, we really appreciate the response from all around the world. A lot of old fans wrote to us that they really loved the new album. And I think we also found some new fans with the new album. And that's really a thing that makes us proud.
Now, do you guys have anything planned for the rest of the year? I'm not sure what the situation is like in Germany, whether the country is opening up and if you guys get to play shows.
Yeah, at the moment it looks very good. And the first Disaster show will take place next month in July. And we hope that everything really can take place, because so many shows were postponed, from 1 month to the other month to the other year. And but I think now the situation is really good. A lot of people got their vaccination now, and I think that these first concerts, which are planned for the summer, that they can take place. Of course, not big festivals with thousands of people, but small gigs with some 100 fans. But we are so hot to play live, that we are really looking forward to the first shows.
And I heard that you guys might have another single coming out before the end of the year.
Yeah, there's something planned. They want to put out a shape single version with some songs of the album. That's plan of the record company. And we agreed, okay. But we know that we are self-made men, and we like the do-it-yourself method. And we already have plans to put out a single on our own again, like the Black Celebration 7-inch single from 2019. And yeah, I think this will surprise some people. I can't say when we will release it. Perhaps next year, perhaps 2023. I don't know. But we are do-it-yourself guys, and we like to have all all the things in our own hands.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Thank you very much for this cool interview. Thank you for the interesting questions. And I would like to say a big hello and hail to all the fans we have in Asia, especially in Malaysia. That's great. There are some guys who already bought our demo tapes back in the beginning of the 90s, and they are still into the music and into Disaster. And that really, really makes me proud. And I want to greet all those guys. You know who you are. And yeah, if you want to join us, I can also recommend our new fan club. We have a fan club running since this year, which is called Stormbringers. Just check out Facebook. You will find the Stormbringers Disaster fan page. And there are also guys from Malaysia in this fan club. And yeah, join us and bang or be banged.
Yeah, I have to say, it's changed a lot in the last few years. And of course, recently, because of the pandemic, we haven't had any shows. But before, we used to have a yearly event called KL Thrash Fest. And there was always people wearing Disaster shirts and Disaster patches. Disaster is
great.
Yeah, Disaster is very loved here in Malaysia.
That's cool. That's great to hear. That really makes me proud. We have never expected something like that people on the other side of the world will wear a Disaster shirt when we started 30 years ago, and yeah, that's great. I love it.
Excellent. Dankeschön, Infernal.
Bitteschön. Vielen Dank. Ein schönes Wochenende. Have a nice weekend. Don't drink too much, like me. And enjoy yourself. I hope that the situation is better in Asia as well, and that all this shit is finding its end soon.
To witness, like passing through the